Well, the eclipse is a major event, it's a major life event, because for many people, they don't experience that often. And you think, okay, why? What's so significant about this ecliptic season or the eclipses itself? And you have to look at it, I think, a little esoterically, like what is an eclipse? An eclipse is when the sun is blacked out. There's just darkness. First, there was brilliant light, the sun, and then all of a sudden the sun disappears. That's pretty significant. If you can imagine having an eclipse thousands of years ago, it would have scared you to death. If you had not known it was coming, and all of a sudden you go outside and the sun goes away, it would be like panic time. It'd be like, oh my gosh, fall to the ground, pray to the gods. Is the world coming to an end? Because it was that significant. And because of the eclipses, the power of the eclipse was so intense, the human mind wanted to understand it. It said, what causes this? Where does it come from? And more importantly, when can I predict it's going to happen again? Because when you know an eclipse is coming, that gives you power. You know that something's going to happen, that you can prepare for it, understand. So in some ways, this is what I'm realizing. Astronomy and astrology all came about because of the eclipses. The reason I say this is it was such a monumental cosmic event, more so than you can imagine. Anything cosmically happened, even a comet, even a falling star, whatever you want to think of. The eclipse trumps them all. The eclipse is bigger than all of these things. And it's such a powerful thing. People say, I have to understand this. I have to be able to handle this. I have to be able to predict it. And so you start studying the movement of the planets, the sun, the moon relationship. All this came about because the desire to understand this monumental event where the day went away and the sun disappeared. And so that was the beginning of both astronomy and astrology. Astrology was there to predict and interpret this astronomical event. The astronomical event occurred because people over time said we have to study and watch these movements so we can better understand how they occur, why they occur, and when will they occur. That's the astronomy behind it. So it's said that really astronomy actually was birthed by astrology. Because astrology said, we want to know this, we want to predict it, we want to understand it. And from that predictive desire arose the following of the movement of suns, planets, and everything else, and the moon. And that gave birth to what we now are calling astronomy. So people say astrology is not very scientific. Au contraire, I think astrology gave birth to all sciences. Astronomy is the oldest science, and it came from astrology. So anyway, having said all that, the relationship between that is that when you have a moment in astrology or astronomy, however you want to call it, that is so profound, where the sun disappears and darkness prevails, you have to understand this must have a meaning beyond this temporary thing that happens. And the meaning astrologically is that when the eclipse occurs, it creates a momentary darkness. It takes away that light that has been shining so bright, you may not have been able to see what you need to see. So in the darkness of the eclipse, oftentimes things have been hidden. After the eclipse, those things that were hidden now become revealed. So it's like the light returns. You were in darkness for a while, and then you're enlightened. You come back into light. So at the time of the eclipses, it was really a time of possible great transitions and transformations, where one could understand better what in their own lives may have been hidden from them. They weren't seeing, they weren't acknowledging, they didn't understand because for some reason they were in the dark. And then now they're in the light. So it's a great opportunity if you engage it that way. And so in India and in Vedic thought and yogic thought, the eclipses were the ideal, in fact, not only the ideal, but the required time for meditation. To meditate on the day of the eclipse can give you a great ability and capacity to see what you haven't seen before, especially within yourself. So it was a time of meditation, prayer, ritual, whatever you do to connect to your inner light, your inner guidance, your inner teacher. And so that's why in my system of astrology and yoga practices, the eclipse is a time of great opportunity if you wish to engage it consciously. I mean, it's true. It is like a show. It's like a movie. You go out and you see something amazing in the sky you haven't never seen before, and then you go, wow. And yeah, but if you don't take advantage of that day, you've lost an opportunity that may never come again in your life to go deeper into this experience of something from light becoming dark, becoming light again. And again, in astrology, they see the sun represents the soul. It's the Atma. It's the soul nature of you, is your sun. That's why people want to know their sun sign. The sun sign is really the sign of the soul. So to understand your soul's purpose, your soul's journey, the nature of the soul's consciousness, The eclipse is a beautiful time to do that. It's a very rare time. It's a very opportune time. Yes, you will certainly enjoy seeing the eclipse, or at least or being around it, but you should also really have some time for self-reflection, because very oftentimes things will come up in that time. You may not realize it consciously, but underneath it all, that basic human nature of the sun going away can trigger some really amazing insights in people if they're willing to engage it and to allow it. So that's how I see it.